Hello dear viewers, welcome back to the channel. This is your host Mavi here, and today we are going to be watching the Kizumonogatari movie, specifically part 1, Tekketsu. So the first movie of the 3 movies in the Kizumonogatari series. So, after much consideration and deliberation, I decided to continue my watch of the Monogatari series through the light novel order, right? So, there's 3 reasons for this. Number 1, most of you guys also recommended watching through this order. Number 2, even if it was just purely me making this decision, I always look at a work and say, okay, how did the author originally intend us to look at the work, right? And so clearly Kizumonogatari was supposed to happen after Bakemonogatari. That was how the author intended it, and it was just through some, I guess, production problems that caused it to be delayed so much, right? I believe like by 5 or 6 years. So since I do have the advantage of watching this after the fact, I figure there's no reason for me not to just directly watch Kizumonogatari and see how the author originally intended it, right? And so, thirdly, I feel like at the end of Bakemonogatari, with the way that the series concluded with the story arc between Araragi and Hanekawa, and with Shinobu playing a major role as well, I feel like it's just the perfect time to stop and go back because this is a prequel after all, and learn more about what exactly happened to Araragi, how did he and Hanekawa actually meet, what happened between him and Shinobu, why did he suddenly turn into a vampire, and then you know started on this path of knowing all these different girls and meeting all these different oddities, right? So it seemed just right for me to go back and watch this, which will probably explain most of those questions. Now, I do know some people say that watching this further down the road will keep a sort of mystery to the entire story, but honestly, I personally feel that that was not how the story was intended to be watched, so I'm just going through the light novel order as of right now. The subtitles I'm using are the official Blu-ray subtitles. I considered using a fan sub, but apparently most people think that the official subs are decent enough, and so to avoid controversy, I'll just be watching the official subs. I haven't decided whether or not I want to clip this movie into 2 parts. It'll depend on how I'm feeling and whatnot. So yeah, I guess we'll just do it live, right? So anyways, let's get into the movie right now. Alright, let's begin in 3, 2, 1, play. Are those dates? Tragedy? Empire tragedy? History? Why is it in, what is that? French? I would expect the art quality to also be much better than that of Bakemonogatari. Oh, it's definitely a very different art style. Nowhere. Black. Okay. A very creepy start to all this. Then again, we are dealing with the supernatural, right? Oh, his teeth has already been changed into that of a vampire. But doesn't that mean he can't, I do believe the vampires in this series also are weak towards sunlight, right? Well, I guess not. Oh, there's not much sunlight, to be fair. Yeah, there's definitely nothing natural about this. Still waiting for anything to happen about now. Oh, the sun's coming out. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, he's a classic vampire, alright. Mm. I mean, I reckon if he gets into the shadow, then he's gonna start self-healing. Oh, damn, he complete in the Finarium. Okay, I have absolutely no idea what that said. Oh, he's still under the sun? That's bad. Well, the clouds might be helping soon. Tickets. Iron Blood. Huh. Don't really know what to say right now. I mean, we already know that he was a vampire, right? And yeah, so this is still classic vampire setting. They touch sunlight, they start burning up and whatnot. I mean, he's either gonna be saved by someone or March 25th. Okay, so combined with the beginning where we saw numbers, I believe this is back in time, right? So March. Hey, it's Hanekawa. So this is the end of March, And then what happened, what we just saw with him burning up, that was probably in April. Early April. Oh, look at that bounce. What? Oh, that is quite the sexy underwear you got there. Boy meets girl. So that's how they met? Alright. So Hanekawa was the one? Well, I guess... Huh. So she knows who he is. So yet again, you know, you guys recall back in, back in book... I don't know, man. I've always had my suspicion that Hanekawa already knew of Araragi even before they formally met. But, we'll see. We shall see. Oh, you also know about her. Number one? I just... This was not... This would not be how I pinned them knowing each other at all. And I don't know, Hanekawa's personality seems a little bit different to me. What? What? Huh. So you were the one who caused Araragi to get into this situation. Shinobu? 'This music. I gotta say, I do like this atmosphere very much. By the river, with the wind, with this kind of music. Yeah, why did you warm up to him so easily? I'm...
けど友達が楽しんでいたら自分も楽しいし、友達が嬉しいと自分も嬉しいんだから、一概に弱くなってるわけじゃないんじゃないの？いや、友達が楽しんでいると羨ましいし。
How did they make... Is this like a combination of... Like that water behind him? No worry, I am listening to them. I know perfectly how Araragi felt about that last situation. Entering her dress. I mean, I know, I'm still very what I want to know is why, you know, Hanekawa was so proactive in becoming friends with Araragi. I'm still really intrigued by the water in the background. Oh wait, you just walked by a car accident? Oh, was that the? Actually, a few scenes ago, we heard a car crashing. That was that? I wonder if that's... Oh, okay, never mind. I guess it wasn't important. Well, I mean, I can't blame him. Gotta rub one out. Let off some steam or something. Alright. Right, sure, sure. Buy an arrow book. Okay, so I guess this is his first encounter with a vampire. It did say that they come out at night. What? What? And where is everyone, anyways? Like, this is a subway station. There's gotta be tons of people here. I gotta say, if I were in a situation where suddenly everybody disappeared and there was blood anywhere, I would not be following those blood trails. I would like, nope, nothing to do with this. Almost midnight. Come on, there's nobody here. Hmm. Well, the movie, with the visuals and sounds and whatnot, is definitely doing its job of making me very uncomfortable right now. What? Body out of meat? What? What? Oh, okay. It's a dead body. Ooh, a dismembered dead body, it seems. That, is that Shinobu? Dead?
荒木くんは吸血鬼って信じる？金髪の
And I keep on saying that, dot 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 dash 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 dot dot dot.
冷たい目をした
Oh wait, is that SOS? Okay. ？What is... 'But he's not going to run, right? What in the... Okay. This is the iron-blooded, cold-blooded vampire. No, but I'm much more intrigued by, what is going through Araragi's mind right now. And this baby crying in the background. What the actual... And then now he can't help himself, but he's gonna help her, right? Something like that. Like, why is his personality this way? I feel like that's even... That's even a bigger question mark for me. Like, there's... I really don't. So I'm assuming this is Shinobu? I'm... Of course, I'm bouncing like this and with this music. Oh my god. I mean, I kind of expected that. They already told us about Araragi's personality in Bakemonogatari, but like, why though? Yeah, she is. I like how her clothes also managed to change to fit her as well.
46億年くらい。地球がもう一個できちゃうよ。
22 days. Wait, you're just leaving her there? What? Oh, actually, okay, okay. So it wasn't into April. It was 2 days later versus 2 days ago, right? But how come? Okay, just directly break through the ground level. But how come Shinobu doesn't isn't affected by the sun? Or is she actually literally burning up as well? Okay, yeah, she was burning up as well.
まったく。いきなり太陽の下に出るバカがどこにおるのじゃ。波の吸血鬼なら一瞬で蒸発しておったぞ。日のあるうちは二度と外に出るでないぞ。なまじ不視力があるだけに焼かれ回復し焼かれ回復しの永遠の繰り返しじゃ。まあ不死の吸血鬼を生きておるのだと定義すればじゃがの。吸血じゃあお前ひょっとして。
Yeah.
いかにもキスショットアセロラオリオンハートアンダーブレード
Heart under blade.
ハートアンダーブレードと呼ぶがよい。眷属を作るのは400年ぶり2回目じゃったが、まあその回復力を見る限りにおいてうまくいったようじゃな。眷属。そうゆえにそういえばまだウヌの名前を聞いておらんかったの。まあよいか。これまでの名前など今のウヌにとっては何の意味も持たん。ともかく重木よ。ようこそ夜の世界へ。
You know what? I take that. Being immortal for the cost of not being able to go into sunlight ever again. I think I can live with that. some kind of an abandoned factory.
確か塾というものらしい。
Oh, a crime.
数年前に潰れた幼女が
Oh,
この
that's the okay.
には便利じゃな。
This is where Oshino
次の質問だけど、
待てい、わしのことは
okay.
ハートアンダーブレードと呼べと言ったじゃろ。
長ったらしいだろうな。
Art on their blade.
ショットの方が短くていい。それともそう呼んじゃいけないのか。
いや、まあそうじゃな。うぬがそれで良いのならばそれで良いじゃろ。断る理由もないわ。
Let me guess.
それで
This shot is her like name that she only uses with her,
僕は吸血鬼に
I don't know, like counterpart, companion, something like that.
当たり前じゃん。今さら説明するまでもあるまい。
Vampire etiquette.
重木となったのじゃ。光栄に思え。
重木って。じゃあどうしてお前そんな子供みたいな体つきになってんだ。会った時のお前はもっとこう大人っぽくて。
子供っぽくて悪かったの。
いや、そうじゃなくて。
うぬの血は絞り尽くしたがの。それでは全然足りなかったのじゃ。じゃからそれ相応の姿になっておる。これでも死なぬだけマシじゃ。とはいえ最低限の不死身しか保てぬし、吸血鬼としての能力のほとんどが制限されておる。不便極まりないな。手足もこの通り。形だけでも
So, okay, 2 questions right now.
もう中身はスカスカなんだ。
I guess if she drains more blood, she can regain her former self.
だしな。そうは言っても
Secondly, who was the one who put her into that kind of position?
こんななりになっておっても
Like somebody was obviously trying to hunt vampires.
吸血鬼としては生まれたてのうぬが本来ならば対等に口を聞ける相手ではないのじゃぞ。
は
なんじゃ曖昧な返事じゃのう。本当に分かっておるのか。
あ、まあわかるけど。
ならば服従の証としてわしの頭を撫でてみよ。
Wait.
だろ。
I feel like Kiss Shot, Heart Under Blade, whatever you want to call her,
僕を吸血鬼にして
definitely
ん
has fell for Araragi.
吸い尽くされ殺される覚悟だったんだけど。
別にしたくてしたわけではない。吸血鬼に血を吸われれば例外なく誰もが吸血鬼と化す。それだけのことじゃ。
そうなのか。
まあそれはわしにとっては都合の良いことよ。うぬにはやってもらわねばならんことがあるからじゃ。うぬ一人の血ではここまでしか体を回復できんかった。今のわしはフルパワーからはほど遠い。じゃからこの先はうぬに動いてもらわぬといかん。
僕に何を。僕は人間に戻れるのか。
やはりそうじゃろうな。そう言い出すと思っておったわ。
どうなんだよ僕は。
戻れるよ。
But she will die?
わしの名にかけての。
I mean, clearly there's a reason why Araragi. Actually, I think in terms of her body parts. So Glinting Cutter. What are these names?
でそいつらに退治されたってことか。
たわけたことを抜かすな。まだされてはおらん。が、手足を奪われたのは痛い。回復力もほとんど残っておらんし。今のこの状態では戦いようもない。だから、ウヌがその3名と渡り合って、わしの手足を取り戻してきてくれればよいのじゃ。
え
Seriously.
よいのじゃって。そんな簡単に。
ウヌを人間に戻すためには、わしはフルパワーの状態に戻らねばならんのじゃ。言ってみれば、完全体にな。そのためには、あの手足は絶対に必要なのじゃ。
でも僕
Can't she just, I don't know, suck some other blood and then
最悪僕が退治されちゃうん
that would allow her to,
それはウヌが人間であった頃の話。
you know, further regenerate?
今のウヌは我が眷属じゃ。最低レベルにまで弱体化している今現在なら、吸血鬼としては最高ランクのこのわしを殺すことさえ容易じゃわ。
つまりお前は吸血鬼として弱い方だって話か。
違うわ。
まあ弱体化しているお前より今の僕の方が強いとしても、その3人はフルパワー完全体の状態のお前から手足を奪ったんだろ。だったら
3人がかりじゃったから不覚を取っただけじゃ。侮っておった。
へえ。
つまりじゃ、一人ずつを相手にする限りにおいて、その3人はウヌの敵ではないわ。はっきり言って楽な仕事じゃ。
Really? I have my doubts on that. Oh, already? Okay. Dramaturgy. Damn. And Guillotine. Guillotine Cutter. Oh. Hey. Maybe. Oh. What? Holy crap! So what are you? I mean, I've always liked his character, but didn't realize he was such a badass. No, you're not human anymore. Sorry, dude. Damn.
あんた君たちは元気いいな。何かいいことでもあったのかい？
Dude! How strong is this guy?
ありがとう。助かった。礼なんていいよ。君が一人で助かっただけさ、荒木くん。そう警戒するなよ。そんなギラギラした目しちゃってさ。元気いいな。何かいいことでもあったのかい？ま、とりあえず帰ろうぜ、荒木くん。帰ろうって？あの学習塾跡の廃墟だよ。え？ちょっと待てよ。なんでそんなこと知ってんだ？あ？そりゃ知ってるよ。なんせあの子にあの場所を教えたのは僕なんだからね。ま、義を見てせざるは言うなきなりってね。あの子、ハートアンダーブレードが君の体を引きずって随分困っていたみたいだからさ、いい場所を教えてあげたんだ。お前は何者？
My questions exactly.
僕はただの通りすがりのおっさん。
And of course he's not gonna answer straight. Damn it.
安心しなよ。僕は吸血鬼退治の専門家とかじゃないからさ。僕の専門はもっと広い。手広くやらせてもらっているのさ。ま、自己紹介は後でさせてもらうよ。
ああ、帰ってか。後ろのやつは見覚えがあるな。
ひどいな。その程度の認識かよ。
それで守備はどうじゃった？
Is she gonna start pouting or something?
参ったの。あの3人まだつるんでおるのか。
とにかくお前のフルパワーモードでも3人がかりじゃやられちまったんだろう。だったら僕があの3人に勝てるわけがないだろう。
じゃから1人ずつなら。
つるんでるんじゃそれも無理だろ。お前はおとなしくしてりゃ大丈夫だって言ってたけど、ここだっていつ突き止められるか。それについては問題ないよ。ここには君たちが眠ってる間にこっそりと結界を張っておいてあげたからさ。結界？バリアみたいなもんか？ま、そんなようなもんだ。お前どういうつもりなんだ？どうしてキスショットを、僕らを助けるんだ？敵じゃないことは分かってきたけれど、僕にはお前が味方だとは思えないのに。ひどいことを言うな、まったく。僕はね、バランスをとっているんだよ。言うならそれが僕の仕事なのさ。こちらとあちらの橋渡し。自己紹介しろよ。後でするって言ったろ。星野めめ。
住所不定の自由人さ。ま、妖怪変化のオーソリティだと思ってくれりゃいい。
Apparitions. I think that's the official translation for the oddities that we heard before.
もう少しありていに言うと、好きじゃないんだよね。
でも専門じゃないのかよ。
専門は、だからバランスを取ること。中立の立ち位置でネゴシエーションすること。まあ、強いて言うなら、交渉人だよ。
交渉。こちらとあちらの橋渡し。こちらとはどこで、あちらとはどこだ。こちらは人間で、あちらは化け物か。
化け物。いいね。僕は怪異と呼んでいるが。
Kai. Apparition
そしてその子は
or
怪異語
oddities.
怪異からエナジードレインできる珍しいタイプの吸血鬼だ。まあだからこそ有名な子なんだよね。さっきの君たちの話し合いをなんとなく聞かせてもらっていたけれど、結構大変な事態になってるみたいじゃない。まさかこんなにややこしいことが起こるとはね。
ややこしくなどない。至極簡単じゃ。
長命の吸血鬼のスパンで見ればそうなんだろうけどね。僕ら人間としては困ったもんだよ。ねえ、
He considers Araragi as a human.
それに僕は気に入ったよ。ハートアンダーブレード。眷属とした荒木くんをちゃんと人間に戻してあげようという君の心意気にね。なんなら僕が間に立ってあげてもいいよ。
間に立つって、あの3人の間。
他にないだろう。
助けてくれるってことか。
助けない、力を貸すだけ。今のままじゃやっぱりちょっとバランスが悪いような気もするからね。これじゃいじめみたいなもんだ。ああ、でももちろん僕も仕事だからただってわけにはいかないよ。そうだな、200万くらいでどう？ ある時払いの催促なしだ。それぐらいは
Honestly, that's cheap,
それは
all things considered.
が取れないものでね。
でも
具体的なプランを聞こうかの。交渉といっても容易ではあるまい。あの3人を説得することなどできぬぞ。
僕にできることは頭を下げてお願いするだけさ。誠意を込めてね。お願いできないのなら危険思想に手を出すしかないけれど、幸い言葉が通じるのならゲームができる。
ゲームじゃと？
まずはあの3人をばらかすのが先だろうね。一人一人を相手にすれば問題ないってのがハートアンダーブレード。君の読みなんだろう。ならそれを実現させようじゃないか。
しかしの小僧よ、あの3人とどうやって交渉するのじゃ。
詳しくは企業秘密だけど、フィールドは僕が整えてあげよう。そして荒木くんが彼らから手足を取り戻す。無事に両腕両足を取り戻せばハートアンダーブレードはパワーを回復できて、そうすれば荒木くんは無事に人間に戻れるというわけだ。
おい重木、わしは人間の貨幣は用意できん。200万という借金がどの程度のものなのかもよくわからんが、その金額をうぬは背負うことができるか。心配するな。この小僧のスキルは本物じゃ。いかに弱体化してもそのくらいのことはわかる。
そんな貯金はねえけど、ある時払いの催促なし、 僕が背負うよ。
じゃあ金
I still don't understand Araragi's personality. And question marks all around. But yeah, that was it. That was the first movie. Alrighty. I'll take a look and see if there's anything after the ending. If not, see you guys after this. Alright, so that was the first movie of Kizumonogatari. Let's talk about the characters first, shall we? First of all, I'd like to quickly mention Oshino. Even back in Bakemonogatari, he was my favorite character. Not any of the girls, not Araragi, but it was actually Oshino. I just like the way that he generally speaks and talks, the things that he is saying and whatnot, his entire aesthetic, and the way that he carries himself. I just dig his style. And that was even without the capabilities, the fighting prowess that he displayed in this episode, right? So, sorry, not this episode, this movie. So for me, that was literally just icing on the cake, and makes me like this character even more here. And not only that, I kind of get this weird sense of familiarity with him compared to all the other characters, right? I feel like he's sort of like the stabilizing character for this movie set, especially when you consider that I'm going into this directly after Bakemonogatari, and so there was a 6-year time difference here, right? They might be they might be animated a little bit differently. The intricate details might be a little bit different, but to me, so the way I'm saying about this is that Araragi, I don't really he's somewhat similar to the Araragi that we saw in Bakemonogatari, but back in Bakemonogatari, he was much more calm in these sort of life and death situations than we see here, where he's scared shitless. Of course, with good reason, because here he is still a human. But still, I mean, it's just different from the Araragi that I was really familiar with back in Bakemonogatari, right? Same with Heart Underblade / Shinobu as well. I'm assuming that she's Shinobu. There shouldn't be any question about that. In Bakemonogatari, she was this basically basically a mute, right? She never said anything. And I guess we'll probably get to why that is by the end of Kizumonogatari. But, compared to her personality here, which is bright, cheerful, bratty, however you want to call it. I guess maybe not bright, but just bratty, cheerful, haughty. Anyways, it's different, right? It's different from the Shinobu that we know from Bakemonogatari. So she's different as well. Even Hanekawa, I would say, I don't know. I feel like she's also a little bit different. She's definitely much more. She flirt. I get the sense that she's flirting a lot more here rather than in Bakemonogatari, and this is literally just the first movie, right? So, compared to all the other characters, Oshino seems to me like the one that's least changed. Like, his character is the complete same throughout. So far in Kizumonogatari, and as we have seen in Bakemonogatari. So that's that. Speaking of Heart Underblade, right? So this was the fated first meeting. That scene where they met in the subway and whatnot. I guess some people would like it, and it does have a certain shock value to it. I'm fairly lukewarm towards the entire, being scared shitless and whatnot, and I don't know. I kind of get what they're trying to do here, and at the end of the day, all I can say is I definitely feel like Araragi, his brain is, it's missing a wire or something, or it's completely wired differently, and really, I really want to know why that is. Like, what caused him to be how he is today? That's the same question I've had back in the Bakemonogatari series as well, and so far, at least for the first 1/3 of the Kizumonogatari series, I still haven't completely understand, I still don't completely understand why he is behaving the way he is, right? Like, come on, he's already, I feel like those entire scenes, that entire scene with them meeting and, close-ups on Aragi's face and whatnot, it's trying to portray that Araragi is actually terrified to death, right? He's really, all he wants to do is run away. He doesn't want to do any of this. And yet at the same time, for some reason, he can't help but try to help Heart Underblade, right? Even though he's scared shitless, he's still moving towards her. Hey, do you need help or anything? And it's just, it's sort of like a moth flying to a flame, right? I'm sure moths probably also know that it's bad for them or whatnot, but they just can't help it. It's just their instinct of some sort. And I feel like that goes for Araragi as well. His brain is just wired differently, and that's what's causing him to do these kinds of things. Even though, he literally, like, nothing good could have come out of that, right? He already knew that he was going to die, or I should say he believed he was going to die, and for what, right? So I don't know. It's just very very a very very interesting premise to me, and it's frustrating that I still can't I still can't completely understand his character yet, like why he is the way he is, right? He's definitely talked about this a little bit as well. His conversation with Hanekawa, how he feels that he doesn't have friends because he would feel weaker having friends, because he would willingly sacrifice himself to do a lot for his friends, and that is for friends, right? And not even, I mean, think of it this way: if he can already go through this much and do this much for something that someone who he completely doesn't understand, he's never met before, and you don't even know if they're good or bad or whatnot, and he's only willing to go that far for them. How far is he willing to go for a friend, right? I mean, he doesn't even know her. That's also one of the things that really kind of bugs me as well. Like, for all he knows, Shinobu could have been, or Heart Underblade could have been, one of those traditional vampires who's going around just killing people, right? And she could be there left for dead because, just because, for instance, vampire hunters wanted to punish her for her deeds, right? That, I mean, considering all the different kind of vampire stories that we've seen before, or stories dealing with vampires, that's an entire plausible kind of situation, right? So, and then him deciding to save her, not even knowing, where she comes from, what she's doing, why she turned out this way. All I can say is he's definitely, his brain just functions differently. That's all I can say about that. And speaking of Hanekawa, so, and also speaking of what I just said, what he just said himself, in regards to being burdened down by friends and whatnot, I do believe that he believes Hanekawa is his friend now, particularly since she already put her phone number and email in, and she already all but said that, yeah, I am your friend now, right? So I think the feeling is also reciprocated by Araragi. He also views her as a friend. So that got me thinking as well. Could it be that the reason, at least part of the reason why he is so willing to trust Heart Underblade, or meet her demands and whatnot and save her, could it possibly be because Hanekawa said that she wanted to see a vampire, right? Especially if you consider that maybe Araragi views her as a friend, he's willing to do anything for a friend, and so that maybe also impacts his decision in regards to Heart Underblade as well. I don't know. It's just a thought that I had putting these pieces all together. Beyond that, I'm still quite curious as to why Hanekawa decided to approach and befriend Araragi. Like, of course, we saw in the beginning that they both knew of each other, right? But I'm saying it's far more reasonable and likely for Araragi to know of Hanekawa, who is, basically the top scorer in the exams, right? That's actually a big deal, particularly in Eastern, Asian high schools, particularly for those who are going to pursue a further degree in college. And that's a big deal, right? It's entirely conceivable that he knows of her just through her grades alone. On the other hand, why does Hanekawa know about Araragi? Why has she observed that Araragi is a loner, doesn't have any friends, etc., 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 right? So in the past, I had this suspicion that she already knew or was observing Araragi, or perhaps even had a chance encounter with Araragi even before all the events that we've seen, right here in Kizumonogatari, right? And I still have that suspicion, though that nothing might come out of that. It's just, I just feel like, there's definitely something that caught our attention way before this. If this was literally their first meeting, I don't believe that Hanekawa would, just so easily decide to befriend Araragi, right? So yeah, and that's basically it for my thoughts on the characters here. I mean, the rest, we'll see, right? We see about part 2, part 3, that story will come along. Beyond that, speaking of the sort of more fundamental kind of stuff, the animation for this is certainly quite interesting. Superimposing the animation work on top of what I'm guessing is a real, real background, like real video and whatnot. I mean, the water is definitely not CGI and not animation, right? That's too real. The ripples are too good to actually be from that. I'm particularly in talking about the water in the river during the scene where Araragi and Hanekawa were conversing. So that is probably, a real video, real background, right? It's a pretty, I wouldn't say it's unique, but it is a pretty refreshing take on how to do this. And I don't know, some people might like it, some people might hate it. For me, it just keeps things interesting, so I guess I would lean more towards the liking it side, right? However, beyond the animation, I think one thing that really stands out to me is actually the music, the BGM for this. Again, going back to the scene with Hanekawa and Araragi talking to each other, the music there was just beautiful, and it really stayed throughout as well. If there's anything in regards to this kind of stuff that I really like from this particular movie, it would be the sound design. And so yeah, not quite what I expected in terms of Araragi's first encounter with Shinobu, with Heart Iron Blade. I had thought that it would have been a situation where perhaps Heart Iron Blade was trying to kill Araragi, and then for some reason she couldn't do the deed and instead was on the cusp of death herself, and so that's when Araragi decided to forgive her and allow her to live, right? I thought it was going to be something like that. So it's not quite as expected, but it is what it is, right? It's still quite interesting. So yeah, that's basically it for Kizumonogatari. So stay tuned for part 2 and part 3, which I will try to get out, I guess, I don't know, maybe, perhaps in a few days after this, because I am going to be on Lunar New Year's, so I might pre-record a little bit more stuff, right? It all depends, stay tuned for that, anyways. So, I'll see you guys in the next one, bye-bye.